So some of the items that I look at to help me with determining the price, I would be, well, I would get a quote from an insurance guy, and I would determine if there's any HOA, CDDs, and if we're going to ask for any seller concessions. So we're going to send an email to our insurance guy. We're including the MLS profile. So to send the MLS profile to him, we do have to mark it as signed. Anything that you want to share with somebody, you have to mark it as signed. So we're going to go to share documents, and we're going to share it with a vendor. Jermaine White automatically pops up. If you have your own insurance person, you can have your own insurance person be included. But, we have this guy. So we don't have anybody else. I'm going to say, hey, Jermaine, can you provide an insurance quote for this property / buyer? The MLS profile is enclosed. Let me scroll down to the bottom, and we go ahead and hit send, and the send button is right here. Now we've go ahead and requested our insurance, we can go ahead and try to get an idea of what's going on with this property. So I would figure out, one, what are the other homes in the area selling for? So I duplicate that because I want to keep this open. So I just could duplicate the screen. And now I'm going to do a quick search for homes within a half-mile radius. That's what most appraisers will look at. I'm looking for homes that are within this size. So anything that is within as low as 1,300, we go 200 down, 200 above. So 1,300 to around 1,800. So we look at sold, pending. I'm going to do single family homes. So then I get an idea of what's going on. So at a glimpse, we can see here that we have a number of houses that was in the half-mile radius. Right now we are here. We are the third lowest. So we have this one at 130, 175, 275, and 317. Under contract, we have one for 425. For sold, we have one as low as 145 all the way up to 410. So I'm sure these 410 ones are like, oh, see, this is a brand new construction property. So we won't even look at new construction homes. So let's just take those out of our criteria. When it says new construction, no, we don't. So we drop from 19 to 10 homes. So now we're looking at 10 homes. What's the activity of the 10 homes? The highest priced home sold for $325. It's a little bit smaller. It was on the market for 13 days. It was on the market for $324, sold for $325. I also looked to see, and this was $4,200, built in 2005. Our home was built in 1959. These are all the things the appraiser look at. So when the appraiser determines the value of the home, they will look at all these things. So this car had a 2-car garage, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Our house does not have a 2-car garage. So we're already lower in price there. And then the seller gave the buyer $2,150 towards concessions. Says home in good condition, new roof, new kitchen, fresh paint, new carpets. So completely, they don't have anything to worry about. Good condition, new roof, new kitchen, fresh paint, new carpets, all new. So that's that. So then we have this home that sold for $309 and sold for $309. It was on the market for 46 days. Let's see. Also built in 2005. Updated on the inside, new kitchen, new floors, looks like fresh paint, stainless steel appliances. They gave their buyer $79. Now if I were to do the math on that, it sold for $309, $900. Let's see if they ask for the regular 3% seller concessions. Yeah, basically. So they asked for 3% concessions from the buyer on this at a full price offer that was fully renovated at 3. A little bit smaller in our property. but great condition. So that's that one. So we'll go. It's still superior than our property, I feel. And our property has been on the market for 155 days. So that let you know that the 319 is a little bit off. And they started at 329,990. So they went down only $10,000 in those 155 days. So now we're looking at another property that was sold for 260. Now this one sold for 260. Also looks nice on the inside. Was on the market for a total of 149 days. 4 bedrooms, 2 bath. A little bit smaller than our subject property. And the seller gave $5,000 towards credit. So we need credit for our buyer to make sure this deal works. And we're seeing that credit is a thing for most of these houses. So another one sold for $254. This one had a 2-car garage, looked decent on the inside. Needed a little bit of work, but not a ton of work. Need some work, bring back the glory, and have instant equity. So they were selling it below market for that price. And below market, it was sold conventional with no seller credit. So there's a conventional right there. And at $250, it was priced to sell. So priced to sell, 7 days on the market. They probably had multiple offers too. And that house moved. So these are some things that I will look at, and it will help me determine the price. So right now we're looking at these properties right here. So we need to be someplace between 260 and 309 for our offer. So we see where our buyer needs to be. So now I'm going to go to the Zillow calculator, which is my favorite mortgage calculator. There's several different mortgage calculators out there. We've been in conversation with the lender, so we know right now the prevailing rate. I mean, it can change at any time, but right now it's 6.75. So at 6.75, that is a FHA loan. We know the taxes are $653, so we're going to put the taxes in for $653. We don't have our insurance quote back from our insurance guy, but we can assume that insurance is going to be $2,300. I'm going to overestimate. It's okay to overestimate on these things. So at $300,000, she's putting 3.5% down. She actually wants to put 10% down, I think. So we're over. We're at $2,130, and we need to be lower than that because her max monthly payment is $200,000. So let's try $280. Let's see where we get with that. So that's more like where we need to be. So my recommendation for an offer will be around $280, asking for closing costs as well. So $280,000, asking for closing costs to handle all of her costs for the loan and her agent compensations, and that will cover everything. Now, if we need to renegotiate this or play with the numbers some more, then we can. And that would mean that we would have to talk to the lender some more. Our insurance quote will be back by then. And hopefully by then we'll be able to have a more ideal offer for her. And we will talk this over because there's several different scenarios that could make this affordable. We can put 5% down, and we can possibly remove the PMI. And if she pays out the PMI and just put 5% down, that gets her to a lower payment. So at this price point, I would suggest $280 because I know it's doable in multiple scenarios if we needed to do that multiple scenario situation. And even if we did 3.5% here, and we use the seller concessions to buy down the rate a little bit, then that would still get her closer to her where she needs to be. So I will go back and I will make the suggestion that we need to be at $280. We ask for closing cost concessions because $219 is not where we need to be for everything that this house has to offer compared to the homes that were sold. Now, can the seller push back and say, no, we need to have our $319? I'm sorry, this is where we are. Of course they can. This is all part of the negotiations. But you make the argument as to why your client needs to be at the $280, or if there's any wiggle room to go up at all, then you consider that as well. So these are the numbers that we will go ahead and present and start. I will talk it over with the client, see if the client is in agreement, and then we go ahead and submit.